So today we will be pondering on a very intriguing aspect is happiness equals question mark. So I've seen a lot of equations of happiness. This was the first time I saw happiness means question mark. Right? That's how it was advertised. Happiness equals question mark. And we need to find what that question mark is. Incidentally, I was with someone in the afternoon and they were mentioning about, it was your parents. And they were mentioning about, especially your dad was mentioning about, the research done by various global institutions to find how people are, or the nation is it happy? The nationwide, how happy are they? And what are the parameters to find that the nation is happy, not happy, or what should be the parameters? So I said, I would be more than loving to be a part of that kind of a discussion to see as to what are the more modern techniques that people evaluate. Because happiness as such is a very abstract thing. And to give it a system wherein you can put it in an equation and to find that this is what decides that you are happy. So there must be wealth, there must be property, there must be assets, there must be stock, health, longevity, satisfaction at job, how do people treat each other at job, at home, what are the amenities provided by government. There must be various factors that go in. But that probably would be in a class on world economy, and that I am not an expert of. But in simple terms, we would love to look at the basics of happiness. So let me introduce my premise. And then we can make it a discussion rather than a monologue. What is the average age of all of us sitting here? You can take me out of the equation. All of you sitting there. 20, 21, 22? Okay, I'll go by it. So those of you who are younger than 22, don't feel bad. Those of you who are older than 22, feel good. At least for this discussion, you are 22 again. So for 22 years, you have been into various scenarios, various circumstances, various kinds of experiences. So let's put religion, let's put philosophy aside. Let's talk about those experiences. Let's talk about what you have gone through in your own life based off of that. Have you ever consciously, intentionally worked for being miserable? Some kind of a movement, if you are really don't want to give a movement, in interrogations they say, move your eyelids. So, you move it twice as a negation, once as a affirmation, I'll understand it. But give me some kind of a response. No. Have you ever consciously worked for being miserable? I'm not talking of your result. I'm not talking of your end result as to what you have gone through or what you have gained at the end. But your intention of starting something. Have you ever started because you wanted to be... Can you close that door? As much as that sweet voice becomes our disturbance, my hoarse voice should not become their disturbance. Much better. Thank you. At least in my 22 years of being a monk, I've never come across anybody who would say, you know, Swamiji, pray for me. That, I have really worked hard in creating this plan, beautiful plan. I'm going to launch it in next week. I really need your prayers so that I can be eternally miserable. I'm yet to find one who... Intention-wise, we would not want to be miserable. In fact, I would want to get out of situation wherein I feel any kind of suffocation, any kind of misery. I would want to get out. So having made my first statement, that when we put our efforts, we do not intend to be miserable. Why? Because effortlessly we are already there. I don't intend getting there, but I somehow slipped to that. And if I get to that state, I would want to get out of it as soon as possible. Therefore, I am trying to boil it down to my first observation based on our life experiences. And if you feel that my observations are too much of an overstretch, you can raise your objection and we'll start discussing on that point. Right? Fair enough? Now, just because I made some observations on my own, they need not necessarily match your observations or your experiences. So if you find it anywhere contradicting, jump in. I'll jump out. You ready? Okay, my first observation is, the reason why we so intensely desire to work towards happiness is probably because that should be our nature. That should be our state of being. And as much as happiness is an abstract term, state of being is another abstract term. We'll try to get to the... It does not matter what kind of geography that you're born in, what gender you are, what kind of preferences you have, what kind of religion you follow. Every single being consciously chooses to be happy or wants to be happy. Whether that individual really turns to be happy or not, it's a different issue. But consciously, this is what we work towards. And that's universally one common theme. Whether you go to a temple or to a mosque or to a church, what we are intending to find is that key to happiness. It's universal. Right? Now, my second observation. This happiness that we are searching is definitely not something as trivial as a joyous moment. A joyous moment comes by, you enjoy it, but you know that it is not going to be a long-lasting one. And that which we are searching is something which is more of a permanent nature. Is it too much of a stretch? I'm sure growing up in this country, you would have gone to a, dentist or to a hospital. And most of these doctors, they give you, after you're done with the rounds of examination and other things, they give you a candy with a stick. What do you call it? Lollipop. And this is my another observation. The kids love to enjoy their lollipop. It's unlike any other candy. And this is my take on it. If you give them a candy, they know it doesn't last long. You open it up, pop it in your mouth, it's done. And then you keep looking for other avenues wherein you can get another candy. But whereas when it comes to a lollipop, they'll not open the wrapper. They'll keep holding it in their hand. Try snatching it. You'll have a wireless thing go off. Okay, plug it back in. Okay. And then they keep looking at it. This is so good, awesome. And after a while, they open the wrapper up. And then they keep visualizing the taste and the joy of it, looking at it, enjoying it. They want to prolong as young as 3.5, 4-year-old up unto this age that we are. There's a constant effort put in to find something that can be prolonged, a method, so that I can enjoy that moment as long as possible, to find it everlasting. And these different joys that come by, they seem to be too impermanent. They come and they go, they come and they go. And you ask people the way they experience joys and sorrows. Say, you must have worked with pendulums, right? So you take the center point, the pendulum swings to one side, comes back to the center point and then moves to the next point. The time taken on either sides, it should be equal. So both sorrows and joy, if this is joy and this side is sorrow, it usually takes the same time for it to go on either sides. Life takes a swing on either sides. But how do we feel? Theory of relativity here. When it is joy, it almost feels like, you go and come back. You've gone to that joyous moment and it comes back. Whereas the sorrowful moments, it's like on a 1/8 speed of a video running. It's just pure relativity that it feels that the joys are running past, whereas the sorrows are lasting long. Now my another observation. Are we searching for something that we are not supposed to search for? Maybe we are supposed to be miserable. Why not stay content being miserable? Why unnecessarily create an avenue wherein, because of the conditionings of, whether it was parents or religion or society, you have to be happy. No, I'm fine. I'm miserable. I'm fine. Think about it, as they say, think out of the box. Maybe I was supposed to be miserable. Let me be content being miserable. Are you okay with that statement? Why not? And I love that word that he just used. Can you say it loud?
Because it sucks.
Do you know that lollipop is also called something else? Do you know why? We are the sucker on the other end. That's why life sucks. Life sucks because it doesn't sound right. But even though it seems very illusory, it eludes me. But still the pursuit of that happiness is something seems to inspire me. At the end of the day, I don't know if I'll really get it. But that seems to inspire me at this moment to do something better than what I've been doing, something nobler than what I can. It seems to be a good, inspiring platform. So I don't start my day thinking that I should be miserable. I know that the joys that I have are temporary. A comparative analysis is the sorrow seems to last longer than the joys. And what I'm seeking for is that state of happiness which is long lasting. So far, are my observations too far away from yours? Have you found a method to find that happiness? Can it be found?